The Promise Kept. Prologue. In the middle of the night, underneath a crescent moon and grey wisps of clouds against a midnight blue sky, the haunting moonlight shines down on the village of Orkney. The tavern is almost empty except for a couple of customers still drinking their fill. In the corner by the fire, a woman with a yellow tunic to match her curly hair sits at a table. In her hand is a necklace filled with white coins. She sits in silence, drinking a cup of water as she counts her coins. A man sits down beside her without saying a word. He wears a black leather vest which hides his shirt, only showing the long red sleeves. Between his unkempt, matted, light brown hair and beard are a pair of pale blue eyes that stare directly at the woman.
How are you, Fabana?
How do you know my name?
The king sent me. Well, Gabriella did.
How did they know where I was? The realm is a big place.
Knife has started hiring spies to keep an eye on people who may have a use. Do you really think they would let you walk away with no strings attached?
I hoped. So you're one of Knife's spies?
No, I'm not one of them. To tell you the truth, I think she's beginning to get a little unhinged. The quest into the Frost Point. Something snapped inside her head.
I don't think they'll like you telling me private information in a public place.
Been here all night waiting for the right time. Everyone here is too drunk to remember anything. Except for you, who's been on water all night.
I need to keep a clear head. I can't afford to make any mistakes.
A slight smile breaks on the man's face, revealing one of his chipped front teeth.
Good girl.
I'm not a girl.
You're smart enough to have your wits about you. The reason I told you the private information is to show you I'm here on good terms. My name's Rouge. I'm kinda like you. I do the work the king can't be seen to do. I handle all the conversations that should not happen. Like this one. Gabriella is putting together another quest. After your help on the first one, they would like you to return.
I only did that quest because I had no choice.
This time, you do. You help them out, and then they would have no choice but to help you.
No thanks. I got everything I needed from them the first time. Besides, I have my own quest that I must do.
You've got a chance for the king to owe you a favor, but you'll rather do your own quest?
You think I want to do this quest? You think I want to be roaming around the realm all by myself? At this point in my life, I wanted to have a family, husband, children, and a home. But I can't. I can't turn my back on this quest. This is something I must do. I've no choice in the matter. I can't afford to fail. Send them my regards.
Everyone has a choice.
Fabana gets up from the table and makes her way upstairs toward her room. Inside her room, she quickly gathers up the very few items she owns and opens the window, letting the cold inside. Her twin handheld axes are placed in her belt, pure white bow and quiver on her back. Finally, she puts on a green hood that covers her head and shoulders, pulling it over her curly blonde hair. Fabana starts climbing down the side of the tavern until she lands on the cobblestone street. She looks around to see if anyone is watching before heading east and disappearing into the night. A few days later, in the forest outside Lavenham, the clouds are grey and rain hails down from the sky, making the day miserable with no joy in sight. A peasant with a chubby face makes his way through the woods, with his hands under his armpits completely drenched from head to toe. His clothes, which look more like rags, are clinging to his skin. The hat on top of his head has collected a small pool of water, which has started to overflow.
Lousily rain. Work inside and nothing but sun. Oh, the one day I have to do work outside and what happens? A storm. Even my bones are wet. Can't finish the job, so I'll have to do it tomorrow. I'll wager the storm will still be raging tomorrow. All that's done now is push my work back.
He spots a small cave in the side of a hill and makes his way inside to dry off until the storm passes. When he gets inside, he tries to look around the blackness, unable to see anything.
Too dark to see. Can't even make a fire because all the wood is wet. First, I'll need to dry it out in front of the fire, but... oh wait, I can't.
After a few minutes, his eyes begin to adjust to the dark and begin showing figures in the back of the cave.
Who goes there?
The figures start walking closer to the peasant. As they come into view, they are revealed to be skeletons. No flesh, no organs, only bone, and yet still able to move.
What? This must be some kind of dream.
The skeletons move closer to the peasant, and with blades in their hands, they begin to stab. Chapter 1. Lavenham. Later that night, the skeletons arrive at Lavenham. With no guards protecting the village, the skeletons are able to enter without anyone knowing or stopping them. No more than a couple dozen of them, but that is all they need. They start breaking off to begin searching every house. Inside one of the houses, a small child named Peter is fast asleep upstairs in his room. On the floor are his dirty blue trousers and red shirt from the previous day. Inside the pocket of the trousers is a white coin with a crescent moon symbol. Downstairs, Peter's mother is by the open door seeing off a visitor. Her pure red hair flows down to a black dress, showing off her figure. She has her chest pointed out to grab the visitor's attention. He pushes his hand through his curly coal-black hair before slightly stroking the hilt of a knife in his belt.
Thanks for stopping by, Kale. It helps us survive.
No, thank you. You're worth the price.
Kale places a bronze coin in her hand. A disturbing smile breaks across his face, revealing a gap between his two front teeth.
The least I could do for my child. Do you ever feel sorry for Jacob? Him never knowing.
Of course not. It's our dirty little secret. Do you feel sorry for your wife? After all these years?
If I did, would I still be seeing you? Has Custan been giving you any more trouble?
Not since I punched one of his teeth out.
Feisty. That's good to hear. I'll be around tomorrow night. Usual time. Tomorrow. I want to...
A sword bursts from Kale's stomach. The sword is drawn back through Kale. As he slumps down to the ground, two skeletons stand behind him. The mother collapses to her knees, frozen in horror at the unnatural sight of walking skeletons. All throughout Lavenham, the skeletons have begun searching the houses, slaughtering anyone who stands in their path. From inside a single-room hut, a skinny man with matted light hair known as Custan sits near a fire reading a book. He hasn't even turned 20, but has already seen enough horrors to grieve him with sleepless night. Upon hearing the scream, Custan leaps to his feet and bolts through the door, grabbing his sword on the way out. Upon exiting his small hut, he hears fighting going on in every house. He continues running through the village, all his focus on a single home. He arrives at the house to find Kale on the floor, coughing in his own blood.
Healer. Please fetch healer.
From underneath his long matted hair, Custan's unsure eyes look beyond Kale to see the mother lying dead on the floor, her chest slashed open by a sword. Just beyond the mother, Custan sees two skeletons slowly making their way up the stairs. Custan leaves Kale still coughing blood and runs around the back of the house. He begins climbing on top of barrels and chests towards a window on the floor above. Custan bursts through the window, waking Peter up from his sweet dreams.
Mommy! Help, Mommy!
Be quiet, Peter.
Custan makes his way over to the door and starts barricading it with chairs, a table, anything he can find. Peter sits up in bed, wearing his bedclothes, and starts rubbing the sleep from his tired eyes before scratching his curly coal-black hair.
Custan, why are you in my room?
We don't have time for this. Grab your clothes. We have to go.
I'm not going anywhere with you.
Custan grabs the dirty clothes, currently lying scattered across Peter's bedroom floor as he tries getting prepared.
Mother! Custan is in my room!
That's not your mother out there.
Custan throws the clothes out the window and grabs Peter out of his bed, who resists, clawing to get away.
Stop! I said I'm not going with you! Mother, help me!
Custan manages to drag Peter over to the window when the skeletons finally break into the room. Peter stops fighting and looks at the skeletons in confusion, unable to comprehend the situation. Custan grabs Peter by the shoulder and turns his head towards him.
Out the window, now!
Peter begins to climb out the window while Custan draws his sword, trying to buy the little child time. Custan blocks every blow the skeletons swing at him, not trying to best them, just stall for time. Once Peter is on the ground, Custan quickly darts toward the window, jumping down onto a chest before joining Peter, who is putting on his clothes.
Follow me. Something I forgot to do.
Custan leads Peter back around the front of the house, where Cale is still slowly dying from his mortal wounds.
Save me, not the boy.
Custan bends down, drawing Cale's dagger from its sheath.
No, please, no.
Custan cuts Cale's throat open, putting an end to his suffering. He turns around to see Peter staring at his mother's dead body.
Come on, Peter. We need to move.
Custan picks Peter up and carries him away from his home where his mother and his true father lie dead on the floor.
I'd turn around if I was you, love. North is not a place you should be having.
On the side of the road, Fabana is talking to a trader who is sitting on top of his cart full of goods. The elderly trader rubs his clean-shaven face filled with wrinkles. He tries looking at Fabana, but his lazy eye looks off into the distance. The few hairs that remain on top of his head flow down underneath his old hat.
Why, what happened?
Lavenham got attacked last night. Many died, but a few survivors just came from there. They claim they were attacked by walking skeletons. Whole village gone crazy, if you ask me.
Walking skeletons? Is that what they said?
They tried showing me proof. Took me to a pile of bones. Bones prove nothing. Now I'm off south. Wouldn't mind give you a ride. Long time since I've had some female company.
The trader smiles, revealing a mouthful of rotten teeth.
No, thank you. I've got business in Lavenham.
Chapter 2. Survival. Before leaving Lavenham, Custan quickly returned to his small hut to collect a bag that had been already packed by the door for an event just like this. Since then, both he and Peter have traveled as far south as they could during the night. As soon as the first light of dawn appeared, they stopped to get some rest, tucked away in the forest. They wake early evening and begin to head out again.
Why are we traveling at night?
We travel whenever we're not sleeping, and we only sleep when we're tired.
I don't want to be with you. You're the weird man who's always watching.
Is that what your mother told you?
She says you want to do us harm.
And what do you think?
I think you're a bad man.
I did save your life last night.
You killed Mother's friend, Cale.
It'll probably be easier if I start at the beginning. Me and your father Jacob were both fighting during the Ogre War. We got left behind. Did whatever we had to survive, including hiding in a pile of dead bodies from the ogres, who started eating the corpses. The war taught me a lot. Never leave someone suffering or leave a body behind. Back in Lavenham, I had to protect you. I had no choice to leave his body. I made sure he didn't suffer more than he had to.
What happened to my father?
Custan pauses for a moment, thinking about what he should tell Peter.
We escaped from the ogres, but he was hurt. An ogre was about to kill me, but he saved me, slaying the ogre. We both knew he wasn't going to make it. He gave me the white coin, telling me to give it to you, and to look after you and your mother. I promised him I would. He died, but I carried his body back to camp. We burnt him later that night. It's better to burn a body than bury it. That way nothing can happen to their remains. That's why I'm here. I promised to look after you. I already failed your mother, but I will keep you safe. I don't mean you harm.
The whole time, Peter wears a blank expression on his face as he tries piecing everything together.
I don't like you. You should have died and not my father.
That would have made things easier. Hate me all you want, but I'm going to protect you.
Custan pulls Kale's knife from behind his shoulder and holds it to Peter.
You need to be able to defend yourself. I will do everything I can, but sometimes that won't be enough. You need to understand this is not a toy.
You're going to let me hold it?
I'm going to show you how to use it.
The rest of the evening, Custan begins showing Peter how to use the knife. At dusk, Custan takes the knife back, placing it in its sheath behind his shoulder. Custan takes a moment to look at the sun disappearing, transforming the warm orange sky into a black one with a cold night ahead. The two continue to make their way south.
Why is it not on your belt?
Have weapons over your body. No matter what happens, there will be one you can reach.
Where are we going?
Far water. From there, we'll get a ship. The skeleton hopefully won't find us in Timas.
Chapter 3. Promises. In the middle of the night, Fabana continues making her way north. She hasn't stopped to rest, hoping to arrive in Lavenham before it's too late. If there are skeletons in Lavenham, then a white coin must also be nearby. As she makes her way along the path in the forest, she overhears a couple of voices. She darts behind a tree, trying to blend into the bushes.
Nope, I'm not going any further.
We need to keep moving. The skeletons could catch up to us at any moment.
Upon hearing the mention of skeletons, Fabana decides to take the risk and encounter the strangers.
Excuse me.
Custan and Peter turn towards Fabana. Custan moves in front of Peter in an effort to protect him, with a hand on his sword hilt.
Can we help you?
Yes, you can actually.
Why are you out in the forest in the middle of the night? Raiders roam this area.
I pose you two no threat. You two are in the middle of a forest just like me. I overheard you mention skeletons. Were these skeletons walking?
Yes, I'm guessing the news is spreading. We're just trying to stay ahead of the skeletons.
Why do you think they'll be following you?
That's what I've been saying. I want to go home.
We don't. I'm just trying to protect Peter. I made a promise.
It's good that you're trying to protect your son.
He's not my father.
Well, it's still good you're looking after him. However, you don't need to worry about the skeletons following you.
What makes you say that?
I'm trying to stop the skeletons killing innocent people. I also made a promise, and now I'm trying to right my wrongs. The skeletons only go after people with a white coin.
Like this?
Peter pulls out the white coin from his blue trouser pocket. Fabana's eyes grow wide upon seeing the crescent moon.
Yeah, like that. Where did you find it?
My father.
Hold on. How do you know all this? What's this story, and what promise did you make?
I took the coins from a ruin in the desert and awoke a curse. The skeletons are trying to hunt down the coins. I found this out when a tavern owner died because I paid him with a white coin. Trouble is, I've already spent most of them around the realm. Since then, I've been hunting down the coins. I need that white coin.
No! My father gave me this coin. He brought it back from his time during the Ogre War. It's mine.
That doesn't make any sense. I took the coins after the Ogre War. He couldn't have found... unless there's more than the ones I took.
Custan briefly lowers his head in shame.
Listen, the skeletons want that coin. If you want to survive, give the coin to me.
I said no!
We can't give you the coin. I made a promise to look after Peter. If he wants the coin, I'll make sure he keeps the coin.
Are you serious? You're risking both your lives. I thought you wanted to protect Peter. All you're doing is putting him at risk.
For all we know, you made that story up so you can claim the coin for yourself. I don't trust you.
From out of the shadows, skeletons emerge, increasing in number by the second. Seeing the skeletons, Fabana turns to Custan.
Run!
Chapter 4. During the night. Fabana pulls her pure white bow from over her shoulder and starts rapidly firing arrows into the skeletons.
Can these things even be killed?
Only if you break them apart. Now run!
What about you?
I'll earn your trust.
Fabana puts her bow away and grabs her necklace of cursed coins from around her neck, showing them to the skeletons. Their skulls slowly turn toward the coins before moving toward her. Custan notices the coins are the same as the one Peter has. Fabana stands with her left hand holding the coins out toward the skeletons with one of her twin axes in her right hand, waiting. Custan picks up Peter and begins running away while Fabana escapes in another direction. As Custan runs through the pitch-black forest, unable to see, unknown to both of them, they're heading towards a small cliff leading down to a lake. They suddenly fall through the air before crashing into the lukewarm water. Custan opens his eyes underwater to nothing but black, unable to tell which way is up, and running out of time. His breath escapes him, and seeing the air bubbles float upwards, he knows which way to go. He unbuckles his belt, losing his sword, allowing him to swim upwards faster. Custan bursts out of the lake just in time, gasping for air. Custan looks around in every direction, looking for Peter.
Peter! Peter!
Over here!
Custan starts swimming towards Peter's voice. He reaches the shore to see Peter sitting on the ground, soaked to his core, his face in pure horror.
Take me home. I don't want to be here. I want to be safe in my bed.
We can't go home.
I don't care. I've had enough.
You need to trust me.
No! I hate you! Why didn't you die instead of my father? He would have done a better job at protecting me. He would have saved my mother.
Custan turns around towards the growl to see two yellow eyes glowing in the blackness of the night. A wolf with fur as black as coal starts walking towards Custan, who quickly reaches for his sword only to grab the air. In the brief moment, Custan looks down to find his sword. The wolf pounces towards Peter. Custan looks up just in time to knock Peter out of the way, causing the wolf to pin him down instead. The wolf's sharp claws dig into Custan's legs, while its teeth start ripping into his stomach. Custan reaches behind his shoulder to draw the dagger, his only weapon against the wolf.
Custan!
Custan manages to turn his head towards Peter to see skeletons walking beside the lake towards him.
Peter! Catch!
Custan throws the knife over towards Peter so he can defend himself. The wolf continues ripping into Custan as he watches Peter use the training he taught him. Peter ducks and dives around the skeletons while attacking them with the knife. An arrow flies from nowhere, striking the wolf, making it stop its attack on Custan. More arrows follow. One hits the wolf straight in the eye, killing it instantly. Fabana arrives, running past Custan toward the skeletons, releasing arrow after arrow. As she gets closer, she changes her bow for the twin axes and begins hacking and slashing the skeletons. Peter backs away and watches in wonder as she fearlessly battles the monsters. Once the last of the skeletons has been reduced to a pile of bones, she makes her way over towards Custan, lying on the ground with his insides ripped out, clinging to life.
Fabana, please, protect Peter. Promise me you'll look after him.
My quest is to stop these skeletons. He won't be safe with me.
There's no one else. Someone has to protect him. Please, he's just a child.
As Fabana looks into Custan's dying eyes, she doesn't have the heart to say no.
I'll take him with me, and I'll do my best to protect him.
Thank you. Peter, stay with Fabana.
I'm sorry I was mean to you. I didn't mean it.
Yes, you did. You had every right to. You never asked for this life. But you've got it now. Fabana, come closer.
Fabana bends down, allowing Custan to whisper in her ear.
I lied. I bought the coin in Redwater. His father never got it in the Ogre Land. Please don't tell him.
Thank you.
Fabana pulls away from Custan, allowing him to address them both.
Peter, be a good person. Be better than me. Fabana, I hope you complete your quest. I'm in a lot of pain. Please. I want rest.
Fabana reaches for her bow.
No! I'll do it. I'll do it.
Peter, still holding Kale's knife, bends down and slices Custan's throat, giving him rest. The first light of dawn shines onto Peter's face, revealing the tears beginning to well up in his eyes. Fabana moves closer and puts her arm around Peter.
We're safe for now. The sun protects us. You've been through enough. Get some sleep. I'll make a fire and then we'll bury... No, I don't even know his name.
His name was Custan. He wouldn't want to be buried. Custan would want to be burnt.
Epilogue. Peter lies on the hard ground, his dirty blue trousers and red shirt discarded on the ground, both completely soaking wet. He's now fast asleep in his grey bedclothes, dreaming of happier days. Fabana sits in front of a dying fire that they used on Custan's remains. In front of her is the dead wolf. The fur now in her bag, she carves away at the meat, making sure they both have enough supplies to go after the last few coins. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy our content, then consider supporting us through Patreon, where you can earn a bunch of rewards. Don't forget to subscribe and follow us on Facebook and Twitter for future content. This was performed by a group of amazing voice actors. All our links are in the description below. We'll see you next time.